Hi, hello everybody. I'm Justin. This is Koopa. Welcome to Koopa's Corner. Today we're going to talk about WWE's premium live event, Backlash. Backlash is this upcoming Saturday, May the 10th, from St. Louis, Missouri. And this is a very, very quick turnaround between WrestleMania and Backlash. We're going to go over the advertised match card. We're going to give our preview. We're going to give our predictions. So they're advertising 5 different matches right now, but I could have sworn there was a 6th. So we're gonna mention that. We're gonna start with that actually. It's Jey Uso and Logan Paul for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now I could have sworn that this was an official match for Backlash. I could have sworn I remember them making it official on Raw. But if you go to WWE's website, they are not advertising this match. So I might have missed something. Maybe the match got canceled. Maybe the match got moved. I don't know. But they are not advertising it. But I could have sworn it was official. Because it's so quick from WrestleMania, there wasn't much story there. Logan Paul came out and said he wanted a shot at the title. That was that. That was kind of the only build-up. Now, they are going to have a match at some point if it's not at Backlash. Because this is, something that they've announced, I thought, anyway. So I'm sure they'll have a match. It may or may not be on Backlash. That being said, a lot of people don't like Logan Paul. He's a great heel for Jey Uso to go up against. The crowd is not going to be divided at all. Personally, I think Logan Paul is so much better than Jey Uso in the ring. But Jey Uso just won the title. He's not going to lose it 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, whatever it is. And last night on Raw, they started hinting at a bit of a story with Seth Rollins and his new group. So I really couldn't see a reality where Jey Uso loses the title to Logan Paul yet. So if that match happens, prediction, Jey Uso. And let's now get into the advertised matches, right? These ones are official. They're on WWE.com. And it's going to be, first off, let's start with the Fatal 4-Way for the United States Championship, right? It's going to be Jacob Fatu defending his title against LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, and Damien Priest. This feels like they kind of threw together 2 different feuds. I mean, these were 2 different singles matches at WrestleMania. So it makes sense that they're still all involved with each other. And by, sort of crisscrossing them, you can sort of move away from it with different partners if you want afterwards. Jacob Fatu just won the title at WrestleMania. Again, same thing with Jey Uso. It's very soon, much too soon for him to lose the title. I don't see a reality where he loses the title. Though I would not be opposed to Drew McIntyre walking away with that gold. Drew McIntyre is one of the best that is doing it right now. And I don't think he really gets the recognition that he deserves, right? He's firing on all cylinders, and he's easily, last year with his feud with CM Punk, everything he's done since, I mean, he's really operating at a much higher level than it would appear based on his position in the card. But that being said, I just still don't see them taking the title off of Jacob Fatu. There's also a match for the Intercontinental Championship, and that's going to be Dirty Dom versus Penta. Dirty Dom just won the title as well, but I could potentially see a reality where Penta wins, and it's because Finn Balor or some other member of Judgment Day screws it up, and we move into that storyline, that disintegration storyline. Now, they could stretch it out a little bit more, right? And Dom could retain, and the Judgment Day could pull some magic, and they could continue to feud with Penta for a little bit. Or even Chad Gable could come out, and they could move Penta off in that direction, and we can sort of work our way towards Penta and Rey Fenix back together as a team. And really against Chad Gable or American Made or El Grande Americano, right? El Grande Americano could cause a distraction. So there's a couple different ways this could go. This one feels like the hardest to predict of the night. For me personally, I think it feels really difficult to predict. But I'm going to go ahead and say that Dirty Dom retains the title right now. I'm going to say that, the Judgment Day is able to pull it off. Despite... I think the Judgment Day is going to try to help him out, but screw it up. But Dirty Dom's still going to pull out the win. And so we're going to still get that sort of move in the direction of the breakup of the Judgment Day without it happening yet. And then Penta, I think it's... As much as I think that Penta could hold the IC title right now, it just feels like it's bigger for him to move towards teaming with Rey Fenix. And that feels more of the direction that the WWE would go. So maybe I'm getting a little too meta from a storyline perspective. Penta probably should win. But predicting Dirty Dom, especially if Liv is by his side. And Dirty Dom is not the only person defending their Intercontinental Championship. Lyra Valkyria will be defending her Intercontinental Championship against the man, Becky Lynch. Becky has got the star power, and she came back to start this feud. She came back as a babyface and turned heel basically one night later, just to start this feud. Having somebody with the name power of Becky Lynch will elevate that Intercontinental Championship much more so than someone like Lyra Valkyria, right? It's nothing against her, right? But she's still making a name for herself. And Becky Lynch is the man. And Becky Lynch is going to win. And I don't think this is really going to be in doubt or should be in doubt for anybody. This feels like probably the most obvious one of the night. I mean, it's just such a mismatch. So, Becky Lynch, new Women's Intercontinental Champion. Now, speaking of mismatches, we've got the Ring General Gunther versus Pat McAfee? Okay. Pat's wrestled before, once or twice, or maybe 3 times even, I don't know. Not often, he's mostly on commentary. This feels like a way to write Pat off for the summer. Or at least for a little while, give him some time off. I don't know. God, I hope I'm not wrong about this one, but this should be a fairly one-sided squash match. Gunther should just absolutely fucking wreck him. So, we can hope if Gunther loses this after losing to Jey Uso, I mean, he's going to be spiraling down so fast. But I guess, we'll see. But yeah, I'm predicting Gunther with that one. And then the final match that they're advertising is John Cena versus Randy Orton. John Cena had to face Randy Orton sometime this year during his farewell tour. This heel John Cena versus babyface Orton is a new dynamic. Should be a lot of fun. Should be very nostalgic, right? Both guys are a little bit older, a little bit slower than they once were. But it should be pretty entertaining. Don't expect a classic, but expect it to be pretty entertaining. Unless John Cena wants to ruin it. If he decides to ruin it, if that's all part of his grand plan to ruin wrestling by putting on shitty matches. But otherwise, it should be pretty entertaining, and I think, obviously, John Cena is going to retain, because I think there's a lot more story to be told with him as the champion. And that's it. That's the card for Backlash. On paper's not the best card they've ever done, but, should be pretty solid. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, which match you're most excited for. Probably going to be Cena versus Orton. That's mine, but, let me know. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.